What are those?
Those are all the humans of the world. And these are all the mutants. I'm connected to all of their minds.
The CIA would kill for this.
I know they would. Where are you, Eric?
Charles.
Hello, old friend. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I feel your pain. And your loss.
You think because you can see into my head, you know how it feels. You're looking in the wrong place, Charles.
What happened to them? It was terribly wrong. But come back to us. I can help you.
Help me?
Think of your wife, think of your daughter. What would they have wanted?
I would have wanted to live. I tried you away, Charles. I tried to be like them. Live like them. But it always ends the same way. They took everything away from me. Now, we'll take everything from them.
Welcome to the Mr. Screen channel. The multiverse is spiraling into unfathomable madness. Now Magneto is in the game and won't let Doom do what he wants. Now Eric will show why he is the real supreme mutant. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Destiny rewritten. The air was heavy. A storm loomed over New York City. Lightning streaked across the dark sky as if the universe itself was about to split in half. In the middle of a suspension bridge between reality and the impossible, a man with an imposing presence floated above the earth, his red cloak fluttering in the wind. Magneto. He watched the city below with a cold and determined gaze. Every building, every street, every light shining on the horizon, all were part of a world shaped by a fate he considered unjust. I saw the future, he muttered to himself, and I cannot allow it to come to fruition. The information he had received was clear. Tony Stark, Iron Man, was destined to become something much bigger and much worse. The future showed not only his rise as a hero, but also his fall into darkness, becoming Doom Stark. a supreme entity who would bend time and space to his will. Magneto didn't believe in destiny. He believed in action. If Stark needed to die to stop Doom's rise, then so be it. Closing his eyes, Magneto felt the energy of the magnetic field around him vibrate. And then with a single thought, he opened a portal in space-time. His objective was clear. Go back to the past and eliminate Tony Stark before he even had a chance to become the monster that would destroy everything. The past restarted. Also, 1991. Locale, Long Island, Nova York. The Stark mansion was immersed in darkness. The clock on the wall indicated that it was past 2 in the morning, and inside the master bedroom, a middle-aged man was sleeping soundly next to his wife. Howard Stark was never a calm man, but that night he felt something different in the air. The draft that came in through the window was not natural. It was as if metal vibrated around him. Then Howard's eyes opened, and there he was, Eric Lensher, Magneto, Howard Stark. His voice sounded low but firm. "We need to talk." Howard sat up in bed, his heart racing. Maria Stark, his wife, woke up scared and grabbed her husband's arm. Who are you? How did you get in here?" Magneto ignored the question. He raised one of his hands and a bluish glow ran through the metals of the room. "You need to tell me where your son is." Howard Stark narrowed his eyes. "What do you want with Tony? I want to save you from yourself and save the world in the process." Howard frowned. "That doesn't make sense." Magneto sighed. "If you knew what I saw, you would understand. Your son, Tony Stark, will grow up to become a genius. He will save the world many times over, but one day he will go further than he should. He will be corrupted by the power of time and the multiverse. He will become Doom Stark. And when that happens, nothing can stop him." Howard was silent for a moment, digesting those words. "That's crazy. It's the truth." The silence was interrupted by the sound of shattering glass. Magneto turned to the bedroom door and saw 3 mansion security guards advancing with weapons raised. They never had a chance. With a subtle movement of his fingers, Magneto dismantled the weapons in midair, transforming them into metallic fragments that hovered around him. "Howard, don't make me ask again. Where's Tony?" Maria held her husband's arm tighter. "Howard, don't say anything!" Howard Stark hesitated. He was a practical man, someone who always analyzed all his options before making a decision. But at that moment, he realized something. If Magneto was willing to do that, it was because he truly believed the danger was real. "He's not here," Howard replied finally. "Tony is away studying. You won't find him." Magneto watched him for a long time, his eyes assessing whether that was true. Then slowly, he lowered his hands and took a step back. "If you're lying to me, Howard, I'll come back." And with a movement of his arm, a magnetic field enveloped him, and he disappeared into thin air as if he had never been there. Howard let out a long sigh, feeling his heart hammer against his chest. "What was that, Howard?" Maria asked, still scared. Howard stared into space for a moment. That, Maria, was a warning, and for the first time in his life, Howard Stark felt afraid of the future. The hunter and the prey. 2008, local, Afghanistan. The desert was burning under the scorching sun. The sounds of explosions and gunfire echoed in the distance as soldiers ran through the wreckage. Tony Stark was on his knees, his face covered in dust and sweat. His chest burned with pain, and he stared at the metal casing of his first makeshift armor, the one he used to escape his captors. But something was wrong. He felt a shiver run down his spine before he even heard it. "You were always smart, Stark." The voice came from behind him. Tony turned around and saw a tall, white-haired man wearing a long red cloak. "But not smart enough to escape me," Tony frowned. Who the hell are you?" Magneto stepped forward, his eyes glowing with a dangerous intensity. "I'm the one who came to right the wrong that should never have been." Before Tony could react, he felt something pulling his body tightly. The metal around him began to deform. He tried to run, but it was useless. Magneto raised his hand, and Tony Stark was launched into the air. His fate was sealed. The man who defied. Tony Stark was defenseless. Suspended in the air, he felt every metallic piece of his makeshift armor twisting around his body. His lungs burned, his heart beat like a war drum. Magneto, with his hands raised, prepared to deliver the final blow. "I'm sorry, Stark, but the future needs to be fixed." Tony tried to move, but it was useless. He was completely at the mercy of the master of magnetism. And then time stopped. The sound of explosions and gunshots in the distance stopped. The hot desert wind froze in the air. The dust particles hovered, suspended, as if the universe itself had held its breath. Magneto narrowed his eyes. He felt it, an absurd presence. The space in front of him distorted like broken glass, and a figure emerged from the temporal fracture. A man dressed in a black and gold battlesuit, shining like a deity. His face was familiar, very familiar. Tony Stark's eyes widened when he saw the figure, as he was looking at himself. What? But it wasn't just any Tony. His eyes glowed brightly with a spectral green light, a power that emanated with an overwhelming presence. Magneto! Ah, the newcomer's voice sounded deep, distorted, as if it echoed through time and space itself. You're trying to change what has already been decided. Magneto narrowed his eyes but didn't lower his hands. Who are you? The new Tony Stark stepped forward and the air around him vibrated. I am everything. I'm the beginning and the end. I am that which you fear. He tilted his head slightly and smiled darkly. I am time. Magneto felt a chill run down his spine. He couldn't explain it, but his instinct screamed that this being in front of him was something far beyond any enemy he had ever faced. That's impossible. The Tony Stark of the future raised his hand and with a simple gesture completely undid Magneto's magnetic control over the Tony of the present. Stark's body fell to the ground, free. Magneto took a step back. It doesn't matter what you become, Stark. Magneto said firmly, if you are truly a threat to the future, I can still destroy you here and now. He raised his arms and pulled the entire metallic structure around him, shaping it into hundreds of sharp spears that floated in the air. This will be the end of you. With a roar, Magneto threw all the spears at once at future Tony. But then, something unimaginable happened. The air around the spears distorted. Time simply unfolded. The spears disappeared before reaching their target. They disappeared. And the next moment, they were pointed at Magneto. Before he could react, they were thrown back. With a deafening explosion, Magneto was thrown away, landing hard on the ground. He coughed, feeling a sharp pain in his chest. Future Tony slowly walked towards him. You don't understand, Magneto. He ducked, coming face to face with his fallen opponent. I'm not just Stark. The Tony Stark you knew died a long time ago. He smiled. Now, I am Doom. Present Tony Stark stood up, still not understanding anything. Doom? What the hell does that mean? Who are you really? Doom Stark turned to face him. I am you, Tony. I am what you always feared becoming. And guess what? He opened his arms. I embraced this destiny. Silence reigned for a moment until Doom. Stark stepped forward, facing his past self. And now, I will shape time in my image. Magneto tried to get up, but felt his energy draining away. No, you can't! Doom Stark looked down at him from above, like a god watching a mere mortal. I can, Magneto, because I am time. And with a simple snap of his fingers, Doom Stark opened a tear in reality, and the future began to fall apart. To be continued, and that is our story today. Comment here. Press like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.